Greetings to all of you who are watching this presentation. My name is Professor Pradeep Johnson from the Department of Mechatronics Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to discuss about the different aspects of industrial safety and why it is of paramount importance not only to the industry but also to the people living near the industries. What do you mean by industrial safety? Everyone would be familiar with the word safety. Even in our house, we require to follow some safety procedures, otherwise we can end up in some sort of accidents. Say in a kitchen, if you don't turn off the gas valve, it can lead to accidents. So safety is a common term that is employed everywhere, but it has more prominence when we talk about industrial safety. So basically, when you talk about industrial safety, it is concerned with controlling, reducing, and eliminating the hazards not only from the industries but also other industrial units. So, safety in industry is of paramount importance. If you don't adhere to industrial safety, it can lead to a hazardous development later, and then it can lead to accidents. Say, if you take the case of a chemical industry, like the accident that happened a few decades ago in Bhopal, still the effect is lingering on in that city. Even if it's now more than 30, 40 years old, the accident happened in the 80s, but still the effects are still lingering on. So that is why industrial safety is of paramount importance. What are the significance of industrial safety? So basically, if industrial accident happens, what happens is it is not only a great loss to the employer, it also is a loss to the employee. Okay, because the employee has family, okay, and if he is the sole breadwinner of the family, if he dies or if he is injured permanently in an accident, the total earning dries up for the family. So that is why industrial safety plays a vital role. And if an accident happens, what happens? The employer has to pay a cost of compensation. Not only that, the cost of medical aid is also involved. And when you talk about industrial safety, not only the aspects with regard to accidents, we have to consider other factors also, like cost of training a new worker, okay, and the cost of the lost time. And if an accident happens, you need to do an investigation. Again, that involves cost. And then you need to have certain guidelines or inspections from the industries and supervisions and inspections from the public health services. All these are cost factors that adds to the employer. Not only that, continuing with this, we can say that it adds cost of spoilage of material due to the accident, and the machinery could be damaged. Okay, and due to the injury to the workers, the employer is liable to pay the wages. And if it's a permanent death or a permanent injury to an employer or the employee, then it involves his family also. So it's a total loss. So that is why industrial safety is of paramount importance, and it plays a vital role. Now, what are the objectives of industrial safety? Our basic objective is to prevent accidents in the plant and thereby reducing the hazard level to the minimum possible. And another important aspect would be to eliminate the accident so that the stoppage and lost production is not happening. Okay, so there are also direct and indirect cause of accidents, okay, that happens. So if you properly adhere to the objectives of industrial safety, then we can prevent this uh, insurance or workman's compensations or any other direct or indirect costs that may affect the industry. And our primary aim would be to prevent any loss of life or any permanent disability. Okay, so To attain this, we need to eliminate all the accidents that might happen. And only if the factory or the industry is safe, then people will be encouraged to work there, and they will be encouraged to work and contribute more, and their morale will be high. If there is safety aspects, or if it is accident prone zone, every worker will hesitate to work in there because his life is not guaranteed and his morale will be down. So we need to improve the employee morale by promoting safe work conditions. And another important thing is you need to educate all the members of the organization. So safety is a continuous process. Okay, for it doesn't mean you need to follow on one day and the next day we can just leave it off. No, you need to follow the process in a continuous manner, and you need to educate the people also. Now, how do we measure these accidents? Okay, and how do you record these accidents? So this measurement will help you to understand what is happening in an industry. There are two main methods of measuring these accidents from the slide that you can see here. The first one is known as accident frequency rate, and the second one is accident severity rate. Okay, so accident frequency rate, from the definition itself you can know that how frequently the same type of accident is taking place. Okay, that is known as accident frequency rate. And the second one is accident severity rate. Okay, how far the worker is injured each time the accident happens. Is it life threatening or it is just a superficial wound? Okay, so those all comes under what? Accident severity rate. So these two main ratios determine the type of accident or injuries that happens. Okay, so with this data we can analyze how well the industry is performing. Okay, and how it is in tune with the standards of the organizations. Now, what are the causes of industrial accidents? There are a lot of factors. The first one could be unsafe conditions. Okay, so the working place, if it is not properly maintained, and if it is doesn't have proper procedural system over there, then it can lead to accidents. So that can be termed as unsafe working conditions. Say for example, if the tools are lying haphazard manner in the floors, okay, or you say some nails are kept on the floors, if someone steps on that, obviously he'll be injured. Okay, so there should be bins for proper storage of every material, and not only that, all the employees should be educated to follow the rules properly. Say for example, if he is working in a particular zone, he has to wear a helmet for his protection. He has to adhere to the practice. If he doesn't follow that, then it leads to unsafe conditions. Okay. And second important factor under unsafe conditions could be the job itself, the nature of job. If it is a very risky job, then obviously then there is a factor that accidents can happen. Certain areas are very dangerous, okay, like say in a foundry area or in a chemical factory, there is always a chance that sometimes a hazard can happen. So that nature of job itself can cause industrial accidents. And the next important aspect that causes industrial accidents is work schedules. The work schedules is, for example, if a normal person working hours is scheduled for 8 to 10 hours, but he was given extra load. Say he's been forced to work for 12 to 14 hours. Obviously, fatigue sets in and the worker will not be able to attend the work properly. Then what happens? At one stage, he may do some wrong procedure and that can lead to accidents. Okay, and then the psychological conditions, how a worker is treated inside a factory. Is it always being threatened, or it is he is always abused, is not encouraged? Then sometimes due to depression or psychological conditions, accidents can happen. The next aspect could be machinery and equipment. The machinery and equipment plays a vital role with regard to industrial accidents. Why? Because if the machinery or equipment is not maintained properly or serviced properly, it can lead to accidents. So it has to be ensured the machinery and equipment are properly maintained and serviced. The next important aspect could be unsafe acts. Okay, unsafe acts can be termed as a careless attitude. Say, if in a welding zone, if a person has to wear a protective goggle or shield, but he doesn't do so, what will happen? Ultimately, his eyes will get affected. So these all comes under unsafe acts. Similarly, also different miscellaneous causes, like if you're not keeping the tools properly in a tool bin, okay, it can injure other workers. So now what are the methods to ensure industrial safety? Safety basically involves framing a safety policy. Okay, in a company, you need to have a safety policy, and that safety policy has to be monitored by a safety committee team. Okay, and then that has to be educated to the workers by a safety engineering department. Okay, so safety engineering department includes safety supervisors and all. So their main task would be to, first of all, ensure that the factories in adhering to all the safety norms. Say, for example, in a machinery, there should be proper guarding of the machinery. Similarly, for material handling equipment, the signage should be there, which things should be switched on, things should be switched off, and also all the safety devices should be working properly. And also, you have to check whether the ergonomics of the equipments are proper so that it doesn't fatigue the workers. Okay, and you need to have a proper plan for maintenance. You need to do a periodic maintenance. Okay, and then general attitude would be to have a proper housekeeping. So if it is clean and tidy, everyone will have a good moral to work there. If it is dirty, obviously it's stinking and dirty, then nobody would feel like working there. Okay, and then another important aspect would be safety education and training. Obviously, it is of paramount importance. So every worker has to be given a training on safety, and because that is a matter of life and death, not only to him but also to the other co-workers. Okay, and then what is the role of the government? The government should lend a supporting role to the industries. Okay, so they should help in the after treatment of sewage plants and all the other aspects of the pollution. So this is role of the government. Next one is about a 4 E's of safety. Okay, we can enlist 4 E's with regard to safety. Now, first one is engineering. Okay, so engineering means the safety aspect starts from the design stage, but not only in the installation stage. While designing the component itself, we should think about what are the safety aspects to be included in the equipment. So that is about safety at the design stage. The second E stands for education of employees in safe practice. You need to educate the employees so that they handle the jobs properly in a safe manner. And then enlistment, it concerns with the attitude of the employees. Okay, and so whether the employee is properly encouraged so that he has a proper attitude towards this safety program. Okay, the last one is encouragement. You need to encourage the morale of the workers so that they adhere to the safety practices. And to follow up with the safety practices, you need to have a safety inspection procedure. Only then you'll be successful with the safety aspects. So you need to have a safety audit. Okay, so you need to have a proper safety audit that covers the entire activity of the organization, and also you need to have a safety survey. That means you need to have a detailed examination of a particular field of activity, and then you need to have a safety inspection. A detailed inspection should be carried out by a safety representative. Okay, so that all these data should be properly filed so that you will have a proper inspection procedures. So this slide shows some of the safety instruments available, like your goggles, boots, helmets, signage, gloves, etc. And some of the safety measures that can be implemented includes fencing of the machinery and signage. You have to employ signage where if there is a machinery in motion, and you should not employ young persons on dangerous machines. Okay, and prohibition of women and children near carton openers. So these are some of the safety measures that has to be followed. Now, when we talk about safety, the other aspect is an accident. What is an accident? Safety and accident are interrelated. If proper safety is not followed, obviously accident happens. Now, what do you mean by accident? Accident can be termed as an unplanned and uncontrolled event, okay, that can cause or an injury or even death. Okay, so it is basically an unplanned or uncontrolled event. Okay. So how do we classify these accidents? Okay, accidents class can be classified based on the length of recovery. Say, for example, if it is a minor injury, we can give a first aid and it can be easily cured. Okay, so the time uh, that injury recovery time is less. The next important aspect is the length of time to recover. For example, if we needs to go to hospital to take a treatment and then comes back, then obviously there is a lost time. So there production gets affected. Okay, and the third category is length stay. For example, if his accident is severe, so he has to be hospitalized or he has to take a couple of days leave and stay at home, then that can affect the production also. Okay, so this is can be classified according to the length of recovery. And another important parameter would be the nature of injury. Okay, so fatal accidents, temporary disablement, and permanent disablement. So when you talk about fatal accidents, obviously fatal means death. Okay, so it not only is a loss to the employee, but it also is a loss to the family of the employees. And then temporary disablement. Temporary disablement, for example, if he is injured and then is able to recover after a few days and then returns to work, that is known as temporary disablement. Okay, and the next aspect will be permanent disablement. For example, if he is uh, paralyzed and he is not able to work, then obviously his total life is gone, and not only that, his family also gets affected. So this is the accident classification based on the nature of injury. And obviously, these are some of the categories of accidents: minor accidents, reportable accidents, fatal accidents, and accidents due to dangerous occurrence. So, minor accidents could be small injuries, and reportable accidents is, for example, if the person has to be taken to hospital, that is comes under reportable accidents. And fatal accidents, as we discussed earlier, is death causing accidents. Okay, the accident that leads to death. An accident due to dangerous occurrence, for example, if there's a blast at the factory, so that comes under the dangerous occurrences. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about the different safety aspects and also the accident that might happen in industries. Okay, thank you for joining. Thank you.